What is up, Rubber Duckies fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Duck Pond. I am Peter Capone, and today I'm being joined by one of my good friends, our USPHL veteran, Wisconsin Rapids River Kings legend, all 9 minutes of his playing time, Sport International Hockey Academy goalie instructor, Phenom, and Linus Allmark's biggest fan, Mr. Benjamin Bondranko, also our Carolina Hurricanes expert. Ben, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. It was a nice 72 outside today, so I went for a walk. But I don't think you know what 72 is yet.
Buddy, I hit 50 today. I don't want to hear it.
Oh,
I know. Yeah, we're living in right now it's fall spring, so I know you guys down in North Carolina, you guys don't really understand how spring and summer and winters actually work.
Oh yeah, well, because our weather changes every so often. We just got like 3 or 4 inches of snow last week, and now we're at 72 degrees. So I can't decide what it wants.
Yeah, well, up here we're in fall spring, so we hit 50. It's going to be like -2 next week, and then 50 again the week after, then -2, then 50, then -2, then eventually summer. So
Well,
that's how
you
it
know
works
what?
up here.
Kind of close to ours. We never know what we're gonna get on a day-to-day basis, though.
Yeah. So enough with the weather and the pleasantries, because I really don't have any pleasantries for you. I don't really like you.
Oh wow, you know what? Fair enough.
Anyway, last time on the Duck Pond, we had the captain himself, Kyle Flynn, on. We were talking about the Four Nations face-off. And Ben, you told me you have a couple of choice words for the U.S. team following that final against Canada.
Oh yes, well, good game all the way up until overtime. What the hell are you doing leaving Connor McDavid alone in the slot? First, Adam Fox chases behind the net. First thing you never want to do is chase behind the net. Second off,
Adam Fox should be tried for treason.
And might I add the secret, Canadian they had, Austin Matthews on Team USA, also sneaks down low into the corner to chase the puck, leaving a wide open Connor McDavid in the slot. What are you doing? Like, I cannot for the life of me understand why you have two guys pressure a guy in the corner, leaving the number one player in the NHL right now wide open the slot. It is infuriating beyond belief because I saw it happening.
I wish I could say the same. I was actually driving back from the last Duckies game, and watching it, so I probably shouldn't be the one admitting this on a podcast, but I may or may not have had my phone propped up on the dashboard with the game playing on Hulu while I was driving home
you
from the
didn't,
last
right?
Duckies. No, I did not. I did not. I'm not admitting to anything, and that's not admissible in the court of law. However, we were watching it on the bench at the Duckies game. If you guys saw our post from last game, um, but all I saw of that goal was quick snapper from the slot, and when I saw the number, I'm like, yeah, McDavid from the slot, he's scoring 10 out of 10 times. So
yeah, I mean that's a high quality player from a high quality shot. I mean, there's God love Hellebuck. There's nothing he's doing on that one.
oh no, not a chance, not a chance. And as a defenseman, you touched on Adam Fox. I'm not exactly sure who his D partner was, but um, even if that guy say Adam Fox does chase him as he did, your partner needs to know to stay home in front of the net. And Matthews also being the center should be not completely in the corner like he was, but playing back just a bit to support both the front of the net and the guy in the corner. So you're not necessarily leaving him wide open, but
you're giving
also
some sort of like coverage. He's not able to slip a puck past between nowhere into an open slot.
Yeah, exactly. Other than that, though, what did you think of the tournament overall?
I love the tournament. I think that was a really good example of the NHL's stars being on display without having an all-star game. I think I'm not. I think lately the all-star games have been a little bland. I think it's just kind of like they're sticking to a status quo. I think this is a definitely good branch out, and I think they should not every year, but maybe every other year, do a Four Nations just because it brings the intensity.
Well, that is pretty much what the plan is going to be. So obviously the Four Nations was this year. Next year at this same exact time they planned it out. So they're used to the 2 week break. Is the Winter Olympics
Oh,
in
well,
Italy.
perfect timing then.
So that's the whole plan. They're going to go every 2 years opposite the, or every 4 years opposite the Winter Olympics. There's going to be some sort of Four Nations face-off or like a World Cup of Hockey type situation. So Gary Bettman's already announced that 2026 in Milan Cortina for the Winter Olympics. NHL players are going to go again, finally go back. Haven't been back since 2014 in Sochi. So it's going to be TJ Oshie against what was it? It was Bob, right? Was it not Bob?
uh,
Who,
no, who? Because
who was the
was
Russian?
that Russia? Yeah, that must have been
Yeah,
Bobrovsky then.
it
That must have been Bobrovsky.
had to have been Bobrovsky. Yeah, TJ Oshie in the shootout against Bobrovsky in Russia in Sochi, and the U.S. didn't medal. I want to say they lost to Finland in the bronze medal game that year. Um,
Yeah, I'd be with you in agreeing with that. I'm pretty sure.
I know they didn't medal, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Timu Solani, I'm pretty sure that's his only medal also. Um, that bronze medal from that year. And then we did have a couple of former NHL stars in Pyeongchang and Beijing in 2018 and 2022. But as we know, NHL players were not allowed to go play in those games, so they were all AHL players, college players, which is great. But NHL stars like Brock Faber, he cut his teeth at the Olympics in that. I want to say it was the Beijing games in 2022. Buffalo Sabres legend Brian Giunta. I want to say he was a captain in 2018. That might have been wrong. Might have been
Uh,
2022. Either way,
I'm I'm not too sure. I wasn't paying too much attention to those Winter Olympics.
yeah. But it's going to be really entertaining to see NHL players back in the Olympics and see more of these international competitions. Because to be honest with you, that was some of the most exciting hockey I've seen outside the playoffs.
Like I don't know if I've seen a country more like united, at least in terms of a hockey, other than obviously maybe the 80s Olympics. But
Oh yeah, for sure.
obviously being different um
Different
settings
situations.
and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, different situations. You got Canada basically booing everything the US did, especially touching the puck and even breathing. Um, and then the country the country and team rallying around that, and it just sucks they couldn't get the championship, especially for Gaudreau, because that was
Yeah.
their whole thing was they had the jersey for him, and game like player of the game got the jersey of Gaudreau, and
Hmm.
God rest his soul.
Yeah. And I just love how Gary Bettman's like, this is going to be a great idea. We're going to get some guys play for their country. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be great hockey. And he accidentally created one of the most politically charged sporting events in the last 20 years. But it's whatever, right?
Yeah, no, it's total. He totally didn't mean to do that.
No, but it was great. I loved it. Even though the U.S. lost that first win against Canada in the prelims, at least they won on Canadian ice. That's what gave me a little bit of something back after that tournament. But it was just great hockey overall.
No,
And
that was definitely a very fun event. I can't wait for the next one. Obviously the Olympics, but the next one after that should be pretty interesting.
yeah, so the next one after that is supposed to be 2028. And Gary Bettman already announced he wants at least 6 countries, possibly 8,
Oh,
back
okay,
in
interesting.
that tournament. So it's a World Cup of hockey. So we should expect the four, Finland, Sweden, US, Canada, as we saw this year.
Yep.
Obviously the Czechs, probably the Slovaks. Most I would assume the Russians also.
I would assume
Um,
either if it's not Russia, it's a federation sort of Russia. If they can't
so
technically
Gary Bettman already said he doesn't want any quote unquote made up teams like
okay,
North America, Team Europe from 2016. He
gotcha. So
wants
it
actual countries.
gotcha. So
Yeah.
I would assume so we've got what USA,
USA,
Sweden,
Canada,
Finland,
Sweden,
Canada,
Finland, the
Czechia,
Czechs, probably the Slovaks, the
probably
Russians.
maybe
Obviously
the
this is
I
obviously
mean,
this
a
one.
little bit of a
Mhm.
stretch. Maybe Germans, obviously, because you got Dreisaitl.
Yeah.
Not too many of the NHL players, though, to my knowledge, are.
So that's why I'm assuming the 2028 what they're planning on for 2028 is not going to be NHL exclusive as World Cup of Hockey was. Because if you're going to expand with these other countries, you're going to have to allow them to draw from their their
From their
local
like
league.
juniors
Yeah,
and their
their
yeah.
juniors, their local leagues, their local professionals over there. Because the Germans won't be able to field an NHL only team. I mean, who
No,
are they going to do? Scrape the corpse of Christian Ehrhoff off the streets of Berlin?
I think Draisaitl would play every position, and it's
He
just him
might
on
have
the
to.
ice.
It'd
He's
be him and Jordan Leopold on the back end. But
Draisaitl coaching and playing in net at the same time.
exactly. The Latvians probably would get into that tournament too.
Oh
I would
yeah,
assume because they're. I mean,
there's
another
a
country
pretty
that's
big
just growing. Yeah.
yeah. There's a big group of Latvians who've played, who I think are currently in the NHL. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I can name Elvis Merzlikins, Zemnis Girgensons are the first two that come to mind.
Yeah, so at least they've
Um,
got they've got representation. It's not like they wouldn't be able to not find people.
yeah, exactly. And look at the World Junior team; it's been on the rise lately too. So like, expect a couple more Latvians to start coming in to the NHL, which is great. Now expanding the team to um some other countries around Europe. Um, but that's all international hockey. That tournament's done. The Olympics is now a year away, so that should be some exciting hockey. Let's bring it back a little bit closer to home here. Obviously, Ben, I'm having you on this week as you are the Rubber Duckies Metropolitan Division, and more specifically the Carolina Hurricanes expert.
Yes.
Um, so the Canes got uh, really got their asses handed to them last night against Montreal. What do you say about that?
Yeah, if I'm gonna just be personally and completely honestly speaking, I stopped watching after that first period. They have been playing absolutely brutal before and since that Four Nations tournament. I think since before the Four Nations tournament, they were doing okay. Obviously, they got that giant win against Utah. Rattled off three losses after playing Chicago. I mean, Winnipeg's good team, Minnesota good team. Just a very tough situation to go into the break after going three losses and a win against Utah. And then to come back, perform like they did against Toronto first off, where they couldn't get anything going. They were down 4-0 until the last 5 minutes of the third period when they finally scored three. That just shows you also the extent to what Toronto has. And then just to play as bad as they did against Montreal last night, you got to think at some point there's got to be a shakeup within either the lineup or the coaching staff.
I'm just looking at this right now, and I went back to the Leafs game because I wanted to go back to the last game where the Hurricanes actually scored. So, I mean, when Shane Gostisbehere gets a goal, you got a problem, man.
Well, I mean, his production did drop off. I mean, obviously he had that injury early in the season after he was on that point per game tear. Gets injured, comes back, and is still performing. But the Canes' defense has always been their strongest point, and when you're letting up 6 for some odd goals a game, that's really structurally when you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Because this is a notorious Canes team who always lets up 2 goals a night, 2-3 consistently.
And in the it's been well, Freddie Anderson played against Montreal, so I mean, he's always kind of been Freddie Anderson's always kind of been that you never really know what you're going to get. He's gone on good stretches, and then he's just absolute shit for other stretches.
Yep.
I mean, he let up 4 goals on 18 shots. I mean, and they have to come and they got to host Buffalo tomorrow, who's coming in on a little bit of a tear right now. Like, I
Yeah.
you know what? The Canes are gonna have some work cut out for them tomorrow.
Yeah. That I don't know. I can't say too much about how Buffalo's doing. Obviously, from what it seems like, they're kind of on a little bit of a streak right now. Carolina kind of in a cold spot. Um, Someone I want to see tomorrow, at least if you're a Canes fan, Mikko Rantanen. Where has this guy been? 8 games played, 3 points.
Well, he's not playing on a line with Nate McKinnon anymore. Okay, that's the
Well,
only. Like that's the
That's
only reason he had a chance to produce.
right. I mean, he was given a chance with Aho and Jarvis, and then he got a point. God knows that was before the break, though. At some point, obviously, it's been what, almost a month now since that trade.
Yeah, just about.
He's still shell shocked about leaving Columbus or Colorado.
I
That's
don't
what
think
he's
it.
been saying. That's what he's been saying, is that he's still in shock that he left Colorado. It's
Uh,
been a month.
yeah. No, I understand. Like that shouldn't be. You've been around these guys for a month, as you said. He should be able to adapt like that. I mean, he's a professional. Um, at least so-called professional. I don't really know what the numbers he's putting up. Not really showing it right now, but I mean, yeah, you're playing on the line with one of the greatest players to ever play the game, in Nate McKinnon.
Yep.
Um, I mean, and not to knock Sebastian Aho or Seth Jarvis, two great players in the league,
Yeah.
but you're not playing with Nate McKinnon. Okay,
Well, yeah,
Nate
and
McKinnon's going to set you up, and that's the only reason Mikko Rantanen was putting up the numbers he did is because he had that
he
safety
had
blanket on the ice with him.
right. Um, and obviously both Jarvis, good. The Canes don't have star power.
Mhm.
They have they have a star like core. They're not like they don't have one specific guy to put them over the edge, which is what they've been thinking Rantanen was. That's what they thought Gensel was going to be when they traded for him last year, and then he goes down to Tampa. After saying that he wants to be in Carolina, and they haven't ever really had a star guy. They've just had a really good core of players who know the system and can play it well. They need someone on this team to start breaking them out.
So here's a question for you. Just going back to that star power thing. Who would you say was the last true star of the Carolina Hurricanes?
Going back, it probably was Eric Stahl.
That's what I was thinking also. Yeah.
I mean, because Rod retired, Stahl got that captaincy from him. Stahl was we had your boy Jeff Skinner, my boy Jeff Skinner. But other
1,000
than that,
games and
they've
no
never.
playoffs, Jeff Skinner.
Hey, you know what? He might actually make one this year.
Yeah, if only Corey Perry has anything to say about
Um, but no, it's got to be Stahl. I think that's Stahl was a real backbone of this team for years, especially from that 2000s playoff runs with the Canes. He was really one of their, if not the star player out there for that team, and that's who people would watch for every night because he was a top 3 draft pick. I'm pretty sure.
it. I want to say he was. Yeah, I'll double check that, but I want to say he was.
But I mean, again, I mean, not no real star power. You don't have someone to reliably go on. We thought Svechnikov would be able to do that. He hasn't been performing as well as we'd like. Sure, he's been good, but he's not. He was drafted number 2.
Yeah, Eric Stahl, number 2 in 2003. Sorry.
Yeah. So he
Yep.
was drafted 03, and then Svechnikov was what, 2019?
I want to say so.
Yeah, and he was also a number 2 overall pick. And they haven't quite gotten up to that superstar level. They've gone to star level. Obviously they're big names in the area and on the team because everyone talks about them every game.
Andrei Svechnikov was number 2 overall 2018 draft.
18.
So he went right behind Dahlin. Dahlin went 1. Svench went 2.
Yep.
Um,
yeah.
so
One been to
so
the
what the
playoff
big
game.
thing is, so well, not really the big thing, but you don't think any of this family magic from Eric Stahl is rubbing off on Jordan right now?
I mean, he had a little bit of a streak during, I'm trying to say, back since they played Vegas in December. He went on a point streak of like 3 points averaging a game. But Stahl's a good player. Don't get me wrong. Jordan Stahl's a good player. He's not superstar dev anymore, or he's not superstar anymore, especially not at his age.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, let's take a look at the Sabres quickly.
Yep.
Obviously going on a tear since the end of since really Razor Night. They take down the Predators January 31st on Rob Ray night, 4-3. Another 4-3 win over the Devils. They beat the Jackets. They lose a tough one to the Predators right before the break, but they bounce right back after the Four Nations break with a big 8-2 win over the Rangers.
I will say I was so happy that they got that win. I cannot stand the Rangers.
Yeah, I mean the Rangers have had their problems, but this season, but I mean 8-2 against the Sabres should not be beating the New York Rangers 8-2.
No.
I was in the building for that game. I still said they didn't play the Sabres did not play the second period. And they ended up winning 8-2. They should not have even been they probably should have won that game. They played really well, but that was insane.
Yeah, I think the Rangers have just hit so many lows this year that, I'm glad personally. I can't stand that team. I can't stand the Rangers overall. Um and obviously I don't know too much about your Sabres, but
Um
I know
well do
they
you
they they fluctuate sometimes, right? At least like
oh that fluctuate most of the time. The other night against the Rangers, 8-2 victory. Uh, they put in 5 goals in the first against Igor Shesterkin.
good.
Uh, after he doesn't even make. Oh my God, what is it? I'm sorry, I'm looking for a stat here too. Um, he
I
does a Shesterkin doesn't make it through the first period. Johnny Quick comes in with a couple minutes left in the first and then finishes out the game for him. Now, this season, let's see. I just want to make sure I have this right. I don't think that. Oh, that was from a year ago. That's not the right stat. I'm trying to find the stat for Sabres versus teams with the goaltender getting pulled. Do you
Okay.
know? I saw that it was a couple. It had to be like a month or two ago when I saw this stat.
Right.
That's why I'm on trying to find the new one. But do you know how many wins they have against goaltenders getting pulled this year?
This
When
year's
they this year they have driven a goaltender from the net. What do you think how many wins do you think they have when driving a goaltender from the net?
um, uh, first off, let me ask how many wins they have in total.
In total, the Buffalo Sabres have 23 currently.
23. Okay. To my knowledge, I can't think of many times Buffalo has absolutely destroyed a team this year other than the Rangers. But I'd probably say they've done it a few times. I want to say they've probably pulled a goalie out 5 times, won all five.
They have now, I know for a fact, they have 2 wins versus goaltenders getting pulled.
Okay.
Um, and I want to say both of those games came against the Rangers because Shesterkin has gotten pulled twice against the Sabres this year. One down in New York, Sabres ended up winning that game, and then the other night in Buffalo. The Sabres I want to say there was probably 7 or 8 times the Sabres have driven a goalie from the net,
Wow.
and they have won twice off of that.
Interesting.
That is absolutely horrendous. And if I can find this stat, I'll put it up on our Instagram later, or tomorrow is probably a little bit of a promo for this. I really want to find that stat. But anyway, the Sabres have been absolutely dog water when it comes to their opponents pulling the goal.
That's
Um,
that's interesting.
like I want to say it was I want to say Kate. Oh my God, who's with Sam Montembeau in Montreal?
Is that Primo?
I want to say it's I was gonna say Caden Primo, but I wasn't sure. Caden Primo started against Montreal. They put up 4 and they switched to Sam Montembeau. Sabres lose that game in overtime. Colorado Sabres put 4 in on Gorgiev. Switch goaltenders. Sabres lose that game outright. Um,
Wow.
both of those games I was at too, by the way. Um, those are the two off the top of my head there. I want to say there were plenty others. I mean, but it's been a running joke this year. If the Sabres put in three or more in the first period and drive the goaltender for the net, the odds of them winning that game drop significantly, which is the
That's
exact opposite of what you should think.
no, you would want your team to score three in a period, run the goalie out, then the other one just has to, they just have to kind of cruise. You would think.
See, that's the thing. The Sabres put it in cruise, and but like their cruise is like 20 miles an hour. You're not putting it on cruise control doing 70 down the throughway, right? They're
Right.
doing 20, and then the teams like the Avs are coming back and winning
Well, I mean,
5-4.
I think it could also just be the quality of team that they're playing against.
It's been plenty of teams. It's been Montreal. They lost to Montreal. They're not a good team. Montreal's not a good team.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't.
That's how this whole thing started. It was against Montreal. That was the first time I want to say they drove a goaltender from the net, and then they lost to Colorado a week or two later, and then the curse of the gravy boat right around Thanksgiving when they decided to give out Zamboni gravy boats as like a present for the
Interesting.
fans, and then
That's
they
fun.
lost. They didn't win a game until Chicago in December. The entire month they gave out these gravy boats, and they didn't win a game for 30 days.
It's like the team already went to Thanksgiving. Those were just like the
They went to
leftover
Thanksgiving.
gifts.
They took a break from Thanksgiving to fucking Christmas.
They really just wanted to have they really wanted that turkey and gravy. They just had it a little earlier.
And now everyone's saying because the Sabres brought in the Fan Zam. I don't know if you've seen this.
I have
Uh,
not. Let me
so
see if I can pull.
yeah, if you could find a picture of, so it's basically a thing that you could enter to win, 4 tickets, and you get to ride an outfitted Zamboni for fans while they do the ice in between periods.
Interesting. I see that
They
right
they've
here.
they have not lost a home game since the introduction of the Fan Zam.
So I think that's a staple now.
They went from the curse of the Fan Zam to the curse of the gravy boat to the glory of the Fan Zam.
That's funny.
I don't know what's going on with this team anymore. I think it's just a whole bunch of fucking black magic at this point.
I think at some point you got to roll the dice and just say, all right, if it gets above a 10, we're winning this game.
Yeah, you'd think, and then we talk about how the Sabres have either gone out to these extraordinary. Dude. They have one of the best goal differentials in the first period in the league. Like I want to say they're one or two in the league in first period goal differential. And then they yesterday they start out with a little bit of a doozy against the Ducks. They go down 2-0 early in the game. Um, and then they end up putting in 3 goals in 7 minutes to win the game 3-2. Henry Jokiharju, the Finnish masterpiece, with an absolute nip of a shot. I don't know if you watched the game at all.
No, I've got the highlight here. Let me
If you can find that goal and take a look at it, oh my god.
let's
Oh
see here.
my god. It is one of the
Ew!
yeah,
Ew!
you think that's something Ovechkin pulls out of his ass for 8.95, okay?
That yeah,
Not Henry
that's
Jokiharju on
not
a random February Tuesday night.
like who's this guy?
Who's this guy?
Who's
He's the
this guy
Finnish Flash, motherfucker.
against Lucas Dostal?
Yeah, I mean, don't ask me who that guy is. I have no idea who. I mean,
Look,
there's only there were three guys on Anaheim I actually recognized last night. That was Rocco Gudas.
yep,
Um,
Zegras.
no, Zegras is he still has that suspension, so he didn't play last night.
Gotcha.
Um, Rocco Gudas. Okay, two guys. I can't remember the other guy's name. And then the other guy's the wrong Strom, not Dylan Strom, the worst Strom.
Oh, Ryan Strom.
Yeah, Ryan Strom, the one that no one cares about. Also, I'm watching the Sens and uh Jets game right now. Absolute rock 'em sock 'em in the crease right now.
Hey, look, you love to see that though. You love to see
Oh,
that
you
old
love
style
that.
hockey.
Yeah. Like I don't know who this team thinks they are. Also, they go from something like this Yoki Haru with an absolute nip on the game winner to earlier in the game, Yuri Kulik going out by taking his own shot to his face. Now, I'm telling you, he goes for the one timer, and you and I have both coached hockey the last couple of years,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Um, we've both taught kids how to shoot. how to shoot properly. I know you may be a goalie, but you did some extensive
I
work learning
yeah.
how to shoot, right?
Yep,
Okay, what are
I've
what are
learned.
the four main points to shooting?
Well, you got to shift your weight. You got to go from
Mm-hmm.
that back foot to that front. You got to have your lead foot out in front, rotated wrists, pointed toe, head looking towards the net.
Okay, good. I love that. Perfect. Now, what is the blade supposed to do? Are you supposed to turn the blade over or keep the blade open?
See, I you want to turn that blade over so that way the toe of your stick's pointing at the net, right?
Thank you. I got a goalie that played 9 USPHL minutes saying the proper thing how to shoot. You know what this idiot? You know what this Czech idiot did last night with the Sabres?
Let's see. Did he keep his blade
He
open?
kept the blade right open on a one timer on the back post. It comes right up, hits his blade, goes right to the chicklets.
Oh, Jacob Truba.
Oh, I forgot about you. See, I didn't. I
Yeah,
don't give a shit about
I'm
Truba.
looking at the Ducks roster right now. Troy Terry, Mason McTavish, Cutter
Ah,
Gauthier,
McTavish. That was the other one I was thinking of.
Cutter Gauthier, Frank
Yeah,
Vetrano, Leo Carlson.
yeah. Don't care about any of them.
Yeah.
They're absolute dog water.
Look, I'm just saying you can change the jersey. It doesn't matter. You're the same team.
Also, those Ducks whites.
I
Yeah,
what?
I almost yacked when I walked in the stadium. Like,
What?
who in who on God's green earth decided to put bright orange on top of white?
it's
Like,
it's what? It's like putting hunting orange on anything that's not camo.
exactly. Like, to be fair, I love their home jerseys. I will say that. But these whites, I walked in and almost threw up in my beer. Um, anyway, anyway, beyond the Anaheim Ducks, let's go Sabres and Canes tomorrow.
Yeah.
What are your big expectations for them?
I think the Canes, at least from a Canes perspective, they got to get out early. They got to get out early. They got to get something going offensively, maybe draw a power play, get that power play trying to go, because I think their power play has dropped to 12th in the league, maybe even a little lower than that. Defensively, they need to play strong. Obviously, Slavin's going to be a big, Slavin, we saw him at in Team USA. Um, very lockdown player. The rest of the team needs to step up defensively. Um, you can't be letting up 6 goals, 4 goals plus to Buffalo. You can't do that against Montreal. You can't do that to Toronto because they'll smoke you every game.
That's for sure.
So I'm expecting that. Tomorrow, I'm pretty sure we'll see Freddie Anderson. Um, I saw him with the Whalers night pads. Tomorrow's Whalers night as that's going to be interesting festivities there with Pucky the Whale in the stands.
One thing, as we were talking about how disgusting the Anaheim Ducks jerseys were, I absolutely love the Hartford Whaler green.
This will be my first time seeing it in person, actually in a game
Mhm.
situation. So we'll see. We'll see what my thoughts are on them. But I think the team altogether tomorrow just needs to have a good showing. Um, they need to get back into the win column. Currently, they are third place in the Metropolitan Division. Considering their last 2 losses, New Jersey takes that second spot. Um, come playoff time, if this team still is struggling, they're going to get out in the first round to God knows Washington or New Jersey or who knows whatever if they keep dropping or if they even make it with how bad they've been playing recently. Um, they need to just start playing consistently. They need to get back to their game, put pucks to the net, and be aggressive.
So Carolina, actually, you're wrong, Metropolitan Division expert. Sitting second in the Metro right now.
Well, the only reason I say that is because we have a game more than New Jersey.
Okay, fair. There are tied with points 70 apiece for New Jersey and Carolina. Now I want your on knowing being more versed in the Metropolitan Division. Um, the Sabres have a total of 53 points right now. Okay.
Yes, yes,
Columbus is holding the last wild card spot with 64. Now,
yes,
Buffalo Media has done the math. If all the teams ahead of them, that includes Detroit, Columbus, Ottawa, New York Rangers, Boston, Montreal, Philly, Islanders, and Pittsburgh, all stay on the same consistent pace that they have been this season. the Sabres will have to win 19 of their last 27 games.
Yikes.
They have won the last since they've done that math, they have won 2 games. Okay.
Okay.
Now they are say with that being said, the Sabres are sitting at dead last in the Eastern Conference.
Yes. Yep.
They are 2 points behind Pittsburgh currently, 5 behind the Islanders. So if they can win tomorrow against Carolina, they got a good little springboard to get back into the mix. The challenge would be when they get up to around the 5 spot in the wild card with Boston at 62. They have
Yep.
Ottawa, New York, Boston, all at 62. Then Columbus holding the last wild card spot at 64. Do you think the Sabres would be able to do it?
Let's take a look at some of their remaining games. Carolina, Montreal twice, San Jose, Tampa, Florida, Edmonton. Just examples of some of the teams they still have to play. They can get past the Montreals and the San Jose's. I don't doubt that.
Easy.
Once they start getting into those Vegas, Florida, maybe even Minnesota, the Jets, I see they have to play on there. Those are crucial games that they will have to win.
Like the scariest part of the schedule right now would be from
that whole month of March.
The entire month of March. But specifically March 6th to March 23rd. Because that's where they got to go. They take the Florida trip.
Yep.
Edmonton comes into town. Division rival against the Red Wings. Golden Knights come to town. A team you have to jump in the Bruins. I don't know how, but Utah gave them a run for their money earlier in the year. But that was that was during the curse of the gravy boat, where the Sabres were actually leading most of that game and then blew it in spectacular fashion. The Wild's going to be a tough team. They got to play the best team, arguably the best team in the league, in the Jets.
Yep.
And then after that, they get a little bit of a rest break with the Senators, the Pens, and the Flyers. But then they got to go down to Washington and see the Capitals, where, to be completely honest with you, it's very likely OV breaks the record that.
I think it's actually projected right now, April 2nd. Washington playing Carolina in Carolina is the projection right now.
Yeah, that's the projection. However, the Sabres play the Capitals March 30th.
That is true.
If OV gets a couple
nets,
multi-goal games, that projection's out of the water. He breaks it against the Sabres.
Yep.
But anyway, this Sabres schedule, and mind you, they have 8 losses to work with.
I'm just looking at that 10-game stretch from Tampa all the way down to Ottawa.
You have
to win 8.
Yeah. So let's say they lose to the Panthers. I'll say that. They lose to Edmonton. There's 2.
Yep. You got to have a dog fight against Detroit. Dog fight against Vegas. You gotta beat the Bruins. That's
100% have to beat the Bruins.
Though Detroit and Buffalo, Boston, you have to win. Those are 2 crucial in division games that you have to win.
I would say if the Sabres lose one of those 2 games against Detroit or the Bruins, season's over. I don't think they're making it.
Yeah, I
already don't think they're making it, because I can't see them beating Tampa, Florida, or at least I can't see them taking 2 out of 3 against Tampa, Florida, and Edmonton.
No,
to be honest with you, and I don't see them taking 2 out of 3 against Utah, Minnesota, or the Jets.
No, though. I mean, you'll get Utah.
Maybe, like I said, I don't know how they fucking blew it the last time. So,
well, was that also at the point in the year when Utah was like, "Oh, we're top of the league," or they thought they were like all this, that, and a slice of bread.
Yeah, but that was that was early December. Every team thought they were that. They were him.
Right.
To bring out a youth quote there.
I think it is very possible. However, they have to win the crucial in-division matchups.
Mm-hmm.
At least. I, it's gonna be just a very tough road for Buffalo up ahead. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, it will be, and I'm excited to see the end of the season because I don't know what it is. The Sabres always tend to turn it on at this point in the season, so it's going to be really a lot of fun to watch. Um, but let's turn after talking about that, let's turn it back very quickly. What is your prediction for tomorrow's game? Score prediction.
I think Buffalo's gonna score a few. I think that's just with how the Canes are playing. Even though I say they have to play strong, they're gonna give up a few. I think it's gonna be another close one. It's probably gonna be another 3-2, 4-2. I'm gonna go with the Canes on this one. This, I think the Canes, though they don't have a superstar, I think they're gonna start figuring things out. I think tomorrow is a game that they have to start figuring things out in.
No, for sure. For me, I'm going to go 5-4 shootout Sabres.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's going to be a tight game. We agree on that.
Yep.
Just I think if the Sabres can take it and they don't win in overtime, I think they have the edge of the shootout.
I yeah,
To
I,
be
I would
honest with
I
you,
would
if I'm gonna go, if I have UPL or Freddie Anderson, I'm taking UPL in a shootout right now.
Yeah, I think it's just because Anderson's only played 10 games this year, because Buddy can't decide if he wants to stay on the injured reserve or if he wants to have a healthy body,
Sounds about
um, or if he has to go through 7 more surgeries. Um, I think going into playoffs, he's going to be the key factor.
right. Excuse me. Now we're gonna change gears a little bit. And I'm gonna throw something at you I didn't discuss with you, so I want your honest opinions.
Okay.
Um, right now, one of the hottest teams in the American Hockey League is the Rochester Americans.
All right.
51 games played, 70 points, 33, 14, and 3 overall.
That's not
Um,
bad.
I want to say that if I am correct here, the Chicago Wolves are still Carolina's affiliate, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Uh, Middle of the pack in the Central Division. What do you think about them? They're sitting 23, 27, and 20. Or I'm sorry, 27, 20,
20.
and 2. Sorry.
Yeah. From what I've seen, mainly from the Wolves, um, the guys that the Canes want to be developing and growing and playing well are doing so.
Mhm.
Felix Ungersorum, from what I hear, has been very good. Ryan Suzuki's been playing good. Gleb, I think he's been playing okay to my knowledge. I'm not too sure. That was our most recent draft pick. I think second round last year or maybe a few years ago. Um, not they've been he's been all right, but the guys that are future in Carolina are playing well. So as a not technically a Wolves fan, just because they're affiliated and that's our players. Obviously I still have my loyalties to Charlotte, about a 2.5 hour drive down the road.
Oh, of course.
um I think they're doing good in developing the players.
Well, I mean, that's all, that's their only job. So as long as they're doing that, then they're off to a good start, right?
Yeah, that I mean,
Um,
at the end of the day, as if you can get development within your minor leagues, then you're doing something right.
yeah. So speaking of developments, let's go to a little bit of a goaltender conversation for you. Obviously, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen top for the Sabres right now. However, we're talking about the American Hockey League here. The Arguably the hottest goaltender in the American Hockey League right now, Devin Levi.
Devin
Uh,
Levi, you're
has been
you're
on an absolute tear since the AHL All-Star break. Winning player of the week for last week for the AHL. Let's see, his last
let's
three
check out.
games he had. Oh my God, let's see, where am I going here? He has won one,
He's what is that?
two, three, four, five of his last seven games.
Okay.
allowing no. He had one bad loss against Laval, where he gave up about 5-6 ish, and his other loss was against Syracuse with about 4. Other than
Okay.
that, he's given up no more than 1 goal.
Okay.
And in his last 2 wins, shutouts.
Yeah, no, that's impressive.
Um, Actually, that Toronto game the other night was Rochester's Teddy Bear Toss night.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've heard a lot about teddy bear toss nights. I've been meaning to go to one of
Big in
them.
Hershey. Big Hershey Bears
That's yeah. That's
started
what I
it.
hear.
Big thing there, yeah.
I saw. I keep seeing their videos pop up every year.
Yeah. So funny story, real quick, funny story. Followers of the show will know that we always do the college wrap up. I know we haven't done it the last couple times we've been on. We've been very spotty about it. Also college hockey's starting to wind down a little bit. Um, but if you listen, we always cover Atlantic hockey. Because Seamus works at Atlantic hockey. We always cover the SUNYAC because that's D3 local up in this area,
Yep.
up in New York. And then I always cover SUNY Brockport and SUNY Geneseo. They're UCHC, but used to play in the SUNYAC. They're travel partners, and I used to go to Brockport, so that's why I always cover. That's why I always cover the Brockport scores. Now, I'm gonna tell you a story about my radio days.
Those good
Listeners
old
of the
days.
Yeah, listeners of the show know I used to do radio for Brockport hockey when I was in college. My second year I was doing it. It was the year before COVID, and
Ugh, brutal.
you know what? No, it wasn't the year before. It was right before COVID started because that was 19 and 20. My first year was 18, 19. My second year of hockey was 19, 20. So this would had to be this had to be February of 2020 when this happened. Uh Brockport decides to have their teddy bear toss night, right?
Yep.
And I'm all excited. I go down, I'm there pregame, setting all my stuff up. I have all my stuff set up. I go downstairs and I buy a teddy bear from the because they had like a stand, so you couldn't get out and buy one. You could buy one there and still donate it, right?
Yep.
So I go down, I buy a teddy bear, so I have it up in the press box. So, when they score, I can hopefully hit the ice from the press box.
You know, from
Um,
from from way far in the back or wherever it
oh
is.
yeah, in Brockport, you got to have an arm to get onto the ice. I want to say I hit the goaltender in the head on the bench, but uh, that's not the point. Okay, so Brockport decides to do their teddy bear toss night against Geneseo, who was number 2 in the country for D3 hockey.
Oh
Like
god.
I'm like, this is good. This is such a bad idea. Like they played Oswego the weekend before, and Oswego was like 3 or 4 in the country, right?
Mhm.
And my buddy looks at me and goes, "Why are you wearing all black?" I'm like, "Because I'm about to go to a fucking funeral." And, dude, they lost. They lost like 6-0 to Oswego, right?
Ooh.
Brockport had a little bit. We were like a middle of the pack year. They just barely made the playoffs that year. Um, so anyway, they decided to do teddy bear toss night against Geneseo, and first period goes by. Geneseo puts 2 goals in. It's 2-0 going into the second. Second period ends. Okay, that should have been a trip as I'm watching this Winnipeg game. Uh, Anyway, second period starts. Geneseo puts in 2 more. Yeah, Geneseo puts in 2 more goals, and now it's like 4-0 going into the third. 10 minutes goes by in the third period. It's like 5-0 now, and there's a little bit of a break on the ice, and the PA guy who's sitting next to me pulls up his mic and goes, "Uh, if Brockport doesn't score, we're just gonna throw the teddy bears at the end of the game." I'm sitting there like I'm on a commercial break for the radio. I had to turn my mic off because we were coming back, and I was dying laughing when he said that. Here's the thing. Brockport scored with like 3 minutes left in the game. All the teddy bears go out on the ice, and everyone streams for the door. It goes like everyone takes a step into the aisle, throws their teddy bear, turns around,
And
and
just
marches
leaves.
their
Yep.
ass out of that
Yep.
arena.
They just wanted to get rid of the bear. They were like,
Dude,
oh,
it
this
was
game's
just
going
an
so.
it was an exodus of bears and people from that game. Anyway, that story, this all ties into this Toronto Marlies Rochester Americans game again because they had their teddy bear toss night, right?
Yep.
Now, 0-0 game, end of regulation, Toronto and Rochester, right? Going to overtime, teddy bear toss night.
Oh boy.
Now, for most of you that don't know, I should explain this before the game. Before that whole story, you throw the teddy bear after the first goal. the first home team goal. And then they collect all the teddy bears and they donate it to the charity for usually it's underprivileged youth or parents
Like
in need with young
yeah,
children.
the
Um
underprivileged,
yeah,
the not needy, but like the less fortunate.
yeah, yeah, better that's a better way to put it. Anyway, 0-0 game, end of regulation. Devin Levi stone cold in that, right? Goes to overtime, no goals. Again, stone cold in that. They go to the shootout. They go to the shootout. And if I'm not wrong, I'm looking up the stats right here. Devin Levi stones him cold in the shootout. And I want to say it was Lucas Rusek fucking roofs one in the shootout. It was the second shot of the shootout, too. The teddy bears go flying onto the ice. They got to stop the game. They got to pick up all the teddy bears. And then they have the last two shooters see if they can win. I'm just looking it up right now. That's penalties, OT, no shootout. Oh my god, just give me the shoot, give me the shooters. I'm sorry, Consta Helena scores as the last shooter in the shootout to win the game and throw out the teddy bears.
Wow.
It's just a wild scene the other night in Rochester.
That
But
I'm
there's a good story for you guys.
that's a fun one. Yeah, I'm looking at the they got it posted on their Instagram right now. I'm taking a picture. I guess they did like a they post game started throwing them too.
Oh yeah, because they wanted to get at least wanted to get out of there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm seeing that's fun. That's a
Yeah,
fun.
it's so for the record, um Devin Levi shut down um for the Marlies, Nikita Grabikin, Fraser Mitten, Zach Salo, Logan Shaw, and Buffalo Sabres legend Alex Nylander.
Woo!
And then Rosen got stoned for the Americans. Mason Jobs, Vasilov Komarov didn't score. Noah Ostlund didn't score. Then finally, Consta Helenas ends it in the shootout. So, one hottest teams, hottest goaltenders, and one of the weirdest teddy bear toss stories for the American Hockey League.
Well, you know what? Hey, there's always got to be one weird, story, right?
Yeah. Um, But yeah, that sounds like the last week or two for the Sabres in Carolina. Any last thoughts about Sabres, Carolina, the Chicago Wolves, the Rochester Americans, Devin Levi, or the Four Nations face-off?
No, nothing about that. It's just gonna be a very, obviously Four Nations, very fun, very exciting. That was definitely one for the ages. Carolina, Buffalo. I mean, we'll see. We'll see tomorrow. I'll tell you afterwards. I did have another like chucking stuff onto the ice story, but that.
Oh no, let's hear it.
All right.
Shoot it. Let's hear it.
So this isn't a me story. I heard this from someone else.
Wow. Okay, at
I
least mine
believe
was a me story.
I believe this was at a college game. So someone that I know, they go and buy Chuck-a-Pucks because they're doing Chuck-a-Puck. For those who don't know,
Love Chuck a Puck.
Chuck-a-Puck, you pay like $5, you get like $6 or something. You go up into the stands, and then in between periods, you throw the pucks.
Mhm.
So at this stadium, it's one-sided bleachers, and all around them, obviously, is the boards. So they do this Chuck-a-Puck at the game.
But hold on, let me stop you right there. Can I kind of guess where the story's going?
Yes, yes.
One-sided bleachers, they have netting all around, can't get the Chuck Pucks over the glass or over the netting onto the ice.
Yep. And so
Hold on. Do you
was that
know
a
who
you
you heard?
story?
That was a me story, Ben.
That was a you story.
I told you that story, Ben.
I don't know.
God
Look,
damn it! Stop stealing me stories. I think I told you that story on this podcast too.
I don't know. I don't think that was.
It's on my Twitter. I know for a fact it's on my Twitter because I went to that. That was a USPHL game. Cincy Cyclones versus the Buffalo Stampede. I went to go see one of our closest friends try to play hockey. Then he got a 10-minute misconduct.
That was at that was over the summer when we met over the summer for camp.
Oh, that's probably when I told you the story.
That's when you told me the story.
All right. Anyway, but yeah, stop stealing my stories.
Look, I couldn't remember who I heard it from. I thought it was funny. Never mind. Just fuck me.
Anyway, if you guys want to hear that story, go take a look at my Twitter. I'll even retweet it out on Rubber Duckies Hockey. With that, on that terrible disappointment and terrible story from Mr. Benjamin Bondranko,
all right.
I think that will do it for us here. Make sure to give us a follow on Instagram at Rubber Duckies Hockey, on Twitter at Rubber Duckies HQ. Finally, I would like to thank our very good friend here, Benjamin Bondranko. Even though he has some shitty stories that he steals from other people, he is just a great person to have on the podcast and give us some insight into the world of metropolitan hockey and the Carolina Hurricanes. So, Ben, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, Peter. It's always a pleasure to be on the show.
I know it is. That's what everyone says. Anyway, thank you all for listening. This has been the Duck Pod, and we will see you next time. Thanks for listening.